Now, Zoe, Panzerotti is a little pie, or it's like halfway between a pizza and a pie.
But it's a calzone.
It's sort of like that, but it's cooked in one of my favourite ways. It's deep fried, which makes it even better. But it's a sort of street food. You go along the street, you grab one of these, wrap it up in paper for you, and just snack on it while you're walking down the street thinking about what you're going to eat for the rest of the day.
You know what? I like that whole mentality, I've got to say.
It is. It's all about food. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Now, I've got here 300 grams of flour. This is the pizza and bread flour, nice and strong. We'll get a nice dough out of that one. And to that, I'm going to add some yeast. I've got 7 grams of yeast that I've activated with a couple of teaspoons of sugar, a dusting of flour and some warm water. And you can see it becomes nice and foamy there.
Yep.
That means I've activated it, it's nice and alive, and it will actually start to foam up and rise the dough.
I think what people don't worry about is that what actually happens is not about that sugar that you've added to it actually gets eaten up by this bacteria, so you don't even consume that sugar yourself.
Why would you worry about sugar? There we go. Now, a little tip is...
Good point. Don't need to worry too much about it.
You need some salt in there to bring out the flavour, but the trick is if you add too much salt, and this is me saying this, what you do is you kill the yeast, which you don't activate. You can actually add salt to the rest of the stuff, so you can put it on later on.
I think there's enough in the salami and the cheese.
Oh, it'd be gorgeous when that goes in there. Now, what I do is just mix that around very carefully. What I want to do is make up a simple little dough here.
Okay.
I'll just give that a mix together like this, and so you get an idea of what the dough looks like. Now, we want to get into this straight away. I've got my oil hot, and you're thinking, Richo, how is this dough going to rise? And you're going to make your little panzerotti.
Oh no, you're kind of
quickly?
magical. You'll make it rise.
But you can see what I would do. The dough's sort of coming together now. I would need that on the bench there. Let it sit back in the bowl here. Let it prove. It takes about 40 minutes to prove. Yep. It comes up nice and foamy, almost to the top of the bowl. I break it down again, and then I cut it into small balls. Okay. About 8 to 9 balls, 10 balls if you want, depending on the size of the panzerotti you want. So what I'll do is I'll pop this down the back here.
Ah, there we are. One he prepared earlier.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
I didn't want to waste any time, so I did this. You can see I've got 9 little balls. You sort of throw it together, put it on there, let it come up a little bit, dust it with some flour, a little bit of cling film over the top. Yeah. In about 20 minutes, they puff up a little bit and they become nice and sort of soft.
Yeah, they're quite springy, aren't they? Sort of bubbly and foamy. Lovely.
And they're ready to roll out. And you could, of course, make pizza out of this if you want, but I like frying.
Don't you love that about Italian food? All that provincial food is so rustic. It's about the flavour and the ingredients.
It is. It's beautiful.
Talking about ingredients.
I've got some beautiful ingredients here. I've got some spinach here, some baby spinach that I've blanched already, steamed it, and I've squeezed out all the liquid. Make sure you do that because when you do cook spinach, there's a lot of water in there. You need to squeeze it out.
Yeah, it's very important.
And I've got some lovely pancetta here and some salami with a little bit of tartufo in it, some truffle in there.
I can smell the truffle.
And I've also got some cheeses over there. Yes. Now, what I want you to do, Zoe, is I want you to grate some of the mozzarella. I like the stringiness of the mozzarella.
Beautiful.
But I've also got some gorgonzola there, which is really strong and pungent. If you don't like it, like strong cheeses, don't put it in. The mozzarella's all you need, but I just love the gorgonzola.
There is nothing subtle about this, Adrian. These are serious, big flavours.
Well, you're walking down the street thinking about what you're going to eat. That's what Italian food is all about. Really nice flavours, really nice ingredients, and you don't have to do much to it. All we're doing is chopping up this spinach because we want some nice green in there to make it nice and sort of flavoursome and sort of fill it out.
I like the green part. I like the bit of extra fibre and antioxidants.
And you see I've got the salami sliced nice and thin and the pancetta here. What I'm going to do is pop it onto my board here and just sort of slice it up into little pieces all the way through here. You could leave it chunkier if you want, or if you've got some chorizo or some sausage or whatever you've got, even some leftover meat. If you've got some leftover roast meat in the fridge, you could put some of that in. Now, oh, look at that gorgonzola. There we go. I'm just going to take a little piece off the edge there.
This is not for the faint-hearted. This is something that definitely will keep you not being kissed as well.
That's beautiful. Who wants to get kissed anyway? There we go. I'm just going to slice up some parsley, some lovely herbs. You can put whatever you want, basil in here, parsley.
That's
perfect. That's perfect. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is you're going to get your hands really messy there.
I was going to wipe my hands. I don't think I'll bother anymore.
No, I'm just going to let you get your hands really messy. I've just got some parsley here, roughly chopped it. You don't need to go too crazy about this. I want you to mix that together so it becomes sort of pasty.
Squish it in.
That's right. Now, what I'll get you to do is slide over just a tiny bit. I'm going to grab one of these little babies here, and I'll dust the board a little bit. You know, just gently move it around my fingers and press it with my thumb and forefinger. My fingers there. I've got a couple of little pieces of parsley on there. See those little bits there? There we go. Now, what I'll do is I'll take some of the filling.
Lovely.
And as you can see with the filling, Zoe, it's actually, there is a lot of, a lot of green in there. You know, a lot of parsley and a lot of spinach.
I love that.
A little bit of meat and cheese in there. I'll just take the water, rub the water around the outside of it here. And what that does is it sort of seals it and sticks it. Because when you put this into the fryer, the last thing you want is it to open up and it'll ruin your oil. So make sure you press that down.
Could you brush this with an egg wash and put this in the oven if you didn't want to deep fry it?
By all means. I mean,
Yeah.
you consider this as like a pizza that's fried.
Yeah.
You could actually bake it in the oven if you
Okay,
want.
great.
Now, my oil's at 175 degrees Celsius, so I'm going to pop it in and just put it away from myself. You can see it's starting to simmer straight
Yeah.
away. Perfect. Be really careful with hot oil in the kitchen. It's
Yeah.
really, really dangerous. And you can see I've got a thermometer here. Really important to have a digital thermometer or any sort of thermometer so you know the temperature and you can keep it nice and safe. That'll take a couple of minutes to cook. Give us time to make a couple more of these and we'll be eating these in no time, Zoe. There we go, the last two. And once again, Zoe, when you're deep frying at home, always be really, really careful. It's potentially dangerous, so make sure that you are really careful. Oh, lovely. Look at these. Now, I'm just going to put these two. These have cooled down a little bit, so I'll pop them on there. And, of course, a little sprinkle of salt on there. Cut them in half. Zoe, tell me what you think.
All right. Let's have a little looky. Yeah, I mean,
Beautiful.
it's what I thought it would taste like. It's got the lovely sort of bouncy, soft pastry, obviously 'cause it's fried, very salty. I mean, the flavours are very Italian and you know, you can't deny it is yummy. But for me, moderation is the key on this one.
I like the way the dough's a little bit chewy. I like
that too.
the look of it as well. I mean, this is sometimes food. This is something you'd have every now and again. It's probably like fish and chips. You'd have it, you know, maybe once a month, once every 6 weeks or so. But I think it's delicious. And I think my Uncle Guido would be very proud.